If you are a real estate agent and you are tired of paying for ads that flat out don't work, cold calling, door knocking, all the same old stuff that just seems to be getting you stuck in a rut, well, this is the channel for you. We are three rockstar agents who have come together with over 50 plus years in the training and sales industry, and we are hoping to pass that knowledge on to you. So subscribe to the channel and get ready to learn. Let's get started.
I'm going to do this pretty interactive. There's not going to be any slides or anything. So obviously I'm going to open this up to questions and y'all have a heyday. I'm going to go over my story in a second, but like the main things, like if anyone were to have a question for Tristan, the three things that I like to consider myself, relatively decent at is generating leads, converting leads, and then converting those leads for more money. Average percentage taken in at least where we're at in Georgia is 2.7% on the listing side. And so my average, at least the last time I calculated it, is 3.267 blended. So the story goes 2 years ago, I was working has anyone ever heard of QVC? I was doing QVC, but for jewelry. It's called Gem Shopping Network, and you may have heard of that as well. I was selling jewelry from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. So I was selling to people on the West Coast. It was pretty insane. My wife and I were married. We never saw each other ever because I was working nights, she was working mornings, and we were also paycheck to paycheck. And so I was making a pretty good living, 70, 75 selling jewelry. So if I used my degree to get another job, I could only make 60, and we were already paycheck to paycheck. So I couldn't take the pay cut. So then it was like, what can I do to like make money on top of the hours I already have to work? And so I had paid for a real estate course the year before. So I was like, I might as well just like finish the course. And I finished the course, and then I was like, I might as well just get my license. And then I was like, well, I might as well sign up with a brokerage. And then I was like, shoot, dude, these monthly fees are expensive. And I can remember like a $20 expense would have taken us out. So the monthly expenses were just absurd to me. So I was like, well, I got to start selling a house. And I figured I was already taking phone calls for Gem Shopping Network over the phone. And so I was like, well, I might as well, I don't know, cold call people. And I had no clue what I was doing. I literally had no clue what a real estate agent was or what they did. I just had the license for it. And I knew they could answer, they sold houses, obviously, but I didn't know like what it was or anything. I had a productivity coach at the time, not to like help me be productive. I just needed somebody to help me with the contracts and really tell me what. So I actually landed my first listing appointment without having a clue what an agent did. So I called my productivity coach and I said, hey, what do I say at this listing appointment? Like, what do I do? How do I say it? So then I got the listing appointment. Then after I got the listing appointment, by the way, quick story, I didn't even know how to fill out the contracts. And so I was like, hey, I think you sign here and do all this. And they're like, you don't know how to fill this out. And I was like, I really don't, but I promise I'll sell your house. Like, I'll do a great job. I just don't know what to do. And so then they're like, you're scaring me. And I was like, I would be stressing too, but trust me, I got you. So they signed the papers. They just, God, I think God was just like, here's a bone, dude. So he really helped me out. I got that listing, and then I got another one. Again, paycheck to paycheck, had no money. So my mom had to give me money to buy clothes and my sign and my lockbox and my FMLS, like everything. Then I was like, okay, I kind of like this for sale by owner thing. And I sucked. And my wife was working from home. She would always hear me cold calling, and she would, yell from the other room, like, hey, that was terrible. Try this or say this. And so she really helped me like manufacture a script that worked for me. I don't like the word script, but it worked for me to keep them on the phone. So then over the course of the whole next year, so August to August of last year, I took 18 FSBO listings in my first year. Some of them didn't sell, some of them expired. I realized I was really good at getting the listings, but sometimes like I would take them at too high of a price, but I never balked on the commission. I'm sure there was at least 3 instances where I would turn down a listing because they just would not pay more than 2.5 to one side. And I was like, hey, I'm just not your guy for it. And so send that to someone else. Then I joined EXP last year. And since I joined EXP, my business has just exploded. So I've done a lot of for sale by owners, door knocking, circle prospecting, expireds, anything that y'all don't want to do, like the prospecting, I've done, and I've done it way too much. And now the business is doing really, really good. I'm super blessed. And that's kind of where I'm at now. Obviously, I can talk a lot about door knocking. I can talk days on end about FSBOs. I can talk a lot about circle prospecting or just taking commissions higher than 3%.
Tristan, go ahead. I'm sorry. Tracy, you wanted to ask him?
Yeah, where were you before EXP, Tristan?
Keller Williams.
Okay. And what's the big difference? Can you share that real quick?
Yeah, that's a great point. So big difference is I would go to the productivity coach, and I'd ask them like, hey, what do I do to, generate more business? And I found out that the productivity, bless her, I love her to death. Like she's a great human being, but if you're in the productivity coaching, it's because you're not really selling houses. If you're selling houses, you don't have time to do the productivity coaching. So
That's right.
it couldn't really help me. So then I go to the broker, and the broker's job is just to recruit agents and keep agents going, not to actually help the agents. And so I asked her, I was like, hey, like I would love some help. Like, what do I do? And she's like, yeah, I would love to help you, 2 weeks from now during this 1 hour time slot. And I was like, well, I need help right now. Like, what do I do? And she was like, cold call more and door knock more. And I was like, cool. Like I am now what, And she's like, do it more. And I was like, I'm maxed out. Like I'm telling you, no one's doing it more than me. What do I do? And so then at that point, that's when my upline reached out to me and we went from there, and it was pretty seamless. So the big difference is I can actually get help.
Kristen, I heard the interview that you did, with I forget, was it Brian? With
Brian
the
Ellington.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're still doing a lot of FSBOs? Is that are you still working that pretty hard?
So I actually I try not to do FSBOs anymore. Here's the reason why that's a great question. The reason why is I can pretty much guarantee 15 to 25 transactions a year just through FSBOs, like FSBOs alone. The way that I do them, I do it in a way where the FSBOs end up calling me back to ask like, hey, can you please list my property? And then I don't take anything less than 3%, but I'm looking for 3.5, or even 5%. My side. This is just my side. Whenever I say 3.5, or 5, they're also paying the buyer's agent as well, but I'm just saying my side. And so the problem with that is it's so time intensive, because the amount of time that I have to call them, then get a preview, then follow up with them for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, even upwards of a year before. And just to follow up with them, the time it takes to do all that, you're maxed to about 15 to 25 transactions in a year. And so I figured I'm going to be going on, I want to be doing 35, 45, 50 plus this year. It's just not possible to do FSBOs plus anything else. So I took a step away from FSBOs in the efforts of, if I could just door knock more and circle prospect more and not have to compete against every other realtor, and also not have to wait for these guys to like realize that they can't sell their house by themselves. That's the biggest problem with FSBOs is, one, they don't want to pay you a commission. 2, you're competing with everyone else. And then 3, you have to wait for them to realize like I'm not going to sell my house, or I'm not going to sell my house for as much as I could with an agent after paying them a commission, which time and time again is the case. So I figured if I cut out FSBOs and went all in on door knocking and circle prospecting, where I'm not competing against other agents, people are ready to buy and sell immediately, then I could obviously scale my business so much faster. And it also allowed me to control my mornings and afternoons so much easier, because I'm not at the whim of these FSBOs. So that's why I stepped away from FSBOs. I think it's still a great lead source.
What is your system for circle prospecting?
Great question. So have y'all ever heard of Espresso Agent? Okay. And like literally the best dialer ever. I know the CEO of Espresso Agent, and then I also know of the one at like RedX, Vulcan, Mojo, all those. Espresso is the best because it'll whitelist your number, so you never show up as spam, and you never show up as like a telemarketer. You look like you're somebody that's from the area. So mine, I just made like Gainesville, which is close to where I'm at, and so it always looks like, oh, I should answer this phone. Like this is somebody I know. It's not telemarketer, it's not spam. So I wake up every single morning at the same time. I do the exact same thing every single day, and then I'm on the phones by 8. Now it's 8:30. I do a lot of housekeeping from 8 to 8:30 because of listings, under contracts, and all that stuff. But now 8:30 is hop on the phone, circle prospect. Then I find the neighborhood I want to contact, which is typically based on, let's say I have a random buyer. For example, so then the random buyer is like somebody that I may have just like randomly came across. And for example, I had one that's looking for a ranch in Flowery Branch. They do not plan on buying, like ever. And that's totally cool with me, because I can then go circle prospect across all of Flowery Branch and say, hey, I have a buyer that's looking for a ranch in Flowery Branch. Any chance that you thought about moving? And then once we get further in the conversation, I'm very upfront with them, like, hey, the odds of this buyer just not buying this place is very slim to none. They're not super motivated, but if it was the right house, they really would consider buying. I'm very straightforward with them. And they're like, okay, no worries. And then so I say, I would like to take some photos and videos of your property, send it to them. If they don't like it, then we can just put it on the market. And they're like, okay, cool, sounds good. Because they don't really care how it happens. They just want to sell their house. And so then I don't even have to ask for the listing. It's very like an assumptuous close. They're like, okay, well, I'll just list it. Like, okay, sounds good. So then we'll just list it. And then typically they're homeless and then they need to buy.
Do you always start with a potential buyer when you're doing your circle prospecting, or do you just pick a neighborhood just because you want to be in that neighborhood and start doing circle prospecting?
One time I went door knocking in this neighborhood. Funny enough, I actually door knocked this neighborhood, found a guy that only spoke Spanish. I only speak English. And I called a Spanish speaking realtor and I said, hey, can you translate for me? Like literally right there at the doorstep. And then she translated what I said. He wanted to sell, he just wanted to sell. So when we set the listing appointment, we got the listing. And again, he signed up with, I don't even speak his language. I communicate through her. And so I just split the deal 50-50 with her. And then once I got in this neighborhood, and I door knocked in this neighborhood because I knew it was like tons of potential. It was built in 2020. Those are the best neighborhoods because they have a ton of equity. They're all new sales and they're probably 5 years in. So they're probably ready to move. Like it's just perfect. And so then once I got that one, well, then I circle prospected the whole neighborhood and I said, hey, I have a listing down the street. Is there any chance you have a buyer for it? And then they're like, no, how much is it selling for? And then once they start asking how much it's selling for, that probably tells me, okay, they're like, just curious. You sound pretty interested in what's going to sell for. When do you plan on moving? And they're like, oh, I've thought about it. It really just depends on, and that just sets up a conversation. So then say, all right, well, look, no worries. What I would like to do, just in case at the open house, I get a ton of buyers, I would like to send those your way. Can I just take some photos and videos and then I can have it for them whenever I have the open house? And then we go from there.
Cool. So when you're starting out new in a neighborhood, what's your script for the first time you door knock? What do you say typically?
So this one, I'll tell you the script. Most people aren't willing to do it because it is very vague. It is super vague and you have to be able to know the entirety of the script, but it's always the same opening. And so you knock on their door and then they come out, they're like, who is this guy? And did any of the neighbors say I was going to knock on your door? And I make that stupid face every time. Like I'm confused. Like I have no clue. And then they will mirror my emotions and say, no, what neighbor, who, or they'll ask questions and say, literally no matter what they say, you say, no worries. So the market in here is nuts. Any chance that you've thought about buying, selling, or investing in real estate? And then they'll say, no, not really. Like, no worries. Is this your forever home? And they'll say, no, it's not my forever home. Like, when do you plan on moving? And they'll say, I don't know, 1 to 2 years. I mean, they'll say anything. Some people will say 5 years or 10 years, or yes, it is my forever home. But obviously in a perfect scenario, they typically say no. Then it's typically 1 to 2 years out. Awesome. What's going to be different in 1 to 2 years? And they'll say, well, in 1 to 2 years, the market's going to get better. The interest rates are going to be lower. All the stuff that y'all hear all the time. And then it's, is the interest rates the only thing holding you back? Like if I'm telling you, if I found you the perfect house and the interest rate was, 1%, you're ready to move right now. They're like, oh yeah, sure. We're ready. We're just waiting for the interest rates. Now, when you say interest rates, is it really the interest rates or is it just the monthly payment you're worried about? Like, oh, it's really the monthly payment. There's no way I can afford it. Okay. So no, every single time they keep saying something, I'm just asking another question. And imagine you have an arrow. You just keep putting an arrow in your quiver. Just keep putting it in. And eventually you're going to ask a hook. And the hook is, if I could help you get into the next house that you want to be in, you get out of this house, out of this HOA. And despite the interest rates, I help you save, $20,000 to $40,000. Is there any reason you wouldn't want to hear about that? They're like, what? How would you save me $20,000, $40,000? Or they're like, yeah, sure. I would love to. And then we go down the rabbit hole of how you can make a money by buying now because interest rates are so high, houses aren't selling. And then you go down the rabbit hole of, all right, well then, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Well, it's a buyer's market. So then you can get $10,000, $20,000 off purchase price and then closing costs and then repairs. But during COVID, you had to waive inspections. You went over purchase price. You just create that contrast where they're like, holy crap. So if I do wait for interest rates to drop, I'm just competing again. I can't choose a house. They're like, oh my gosh, when can I buy? And that just happens time and time again, every single time. And then once you close them on the buy, it is the easiest, simplest thing you've ever heard in your life. Then when they find the house that they want and they know they can afford it and they know that the interest rates doesn't matter, they can always refinance. They're like, oh my gosh, we got to sell our house. And then I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. We should sell your house. And then we list it. And then guess what? They don't talk about commission. They don't work. They just care about getting into that next house. They also don't really care, relatively about the list price. So they're not going to be like, oh, I need top dollar on my house. because they know that the buy is the place to be right now.
I think so much of our job is to educate people. They have no idea. They want top dollar for their home, but they also want to get the best price on the home they're buying. You're
Right.
typically going to win on one side or the other, and that's just how it is. You might have won when you bought this house. Maybe it was a buyer's market when you bought it. Well, now it's a seller's market, or vice versa. It's just, and to try and help people understand that with the numbers. Yeah, you might take a little bit of a hit right here, right now, because it is become more of a buyer's market, but that is the benefit on the other side. We're going to get you a great deal on the other side because, you're in control when it comes to buying the next house, and having that conversation,
Yeah. And here's the key to sales is not saying any of that and asking them a question to where they say it. So then if I were to tell them that now's a good time to buy and they can get money off purchase price and they can get closing costs and, if I say all that, they're like, yeah, that's awesome. You have a card for me? Like, they're so excited to talk to me, but they'll never follow up. But if I ask them a question where they say it, it's true. If I say it, I'm just a salesman. So then what you've got to, or what I have found that works for me, but what's worked for me is if I can just learn how to say what I want them to say and just turn it into a question. And then when they say it, it's game over. It's done. You can almost consider it a client.
So I want to ask, but I want to make sure we open it up to anybody has questions before we transition. But I'm super curious to hear the conversations you have once you're in there to get the higher to get the higher commissions on that. But before we transition to that, does anybody have any questions for Tristan about what he's talking about right now?
I'm going to do a card trick, and this will let you know this is exactly how door knocking circle. This is how you get leads. Okay, so I'm going to tell a quick story. So I met somebody, just met them, and then they noticed that I was a real estate agent because they saw, a sign before I was carrying something, or we had a conversation, and they went from, we live in an apartment, we are renting, to 20 minutes later in this conversation, they are ready to buy. Like that's what these conversations can turn into just by asking them the right questions. And they went from, yeah, we plan on buying, my parents, they used to be real estate agents. They know it's a good time but it's not really a good time to buy. Interest rates are so high. We're going to buy in like 1 to 2 years. We're just going to finish out our lease. By the end of the conversation, they said, well, what's the next step? Like, how do we look at homes? And so the conversation went similar to what I'm about to show y'all. It's called the card trick, because that's all you're doing in sales is just asking them questions to lead them to the answer that you want to lead them with. So Jeff, I'm actually going to use you for this card trick. Okay.
I like card tricks. Go ahead.
Okay. So I typically make you pick a card, but it doesn't really make sense. It's just a normal deck of cards.
Okay.
They're all normal. Okay. And do you actually know cards? Do you know all the suits and all that stuff? That's important.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I need you to turn around so you can't see the card.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. Does everyone see this card? Jeff, you can turn around. All right. So obviously we're just going to role play through this and I'm going to act like
6 of clubs. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That'd be insane. You okay. So we're going to role play it as if I'm trying to sell you a house, but it'll sound cheesy. Obviously it sounds better when you're talking about houses. So Jeff, remind me, I'm not the best at cards or anything. How many cards are even in a deck?
52.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So you split it up into categories, but they don't call it categories. What do they call it?
Suits.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so then of those suits, there's how many of those?
4.
Yep. Okay. And they're split into how many colors?
2.
Okay. Now, of those 2 colors, which one's your favorite?
Red.
Right. Okay. So then of the red suits, there's 2 suits left. What are those 2 suits?
Dime. Let's say it again.
So of those 2 red suits, what are the 2 suits that are left?
Oh, okay. The 2 suits that are left, clubs and spades. Black.
No. So of the red suits that you said that is your favorite, of the 2.
Oh, okay. Oh, diamonds and hearts. Okay, I'm sorry.
Right. Okay. So diamonds, you have hearts. Now, which one is it kind of just pisses you off?
Diamonds.
Yeah. We got to get rid of those. So then you have which suit left?
Hearts.
Right. Okay. So of the hearts, hearts are split into 2 different categories. Actually, all suits are. You have numbers and you have face cards.
Right.
Now, which of those 2 just light you up? You're so excited about this.
The face cards.
That's what most people say. But because I'm a villain, I'm actually going to throw those away. So you have the numbers left. And then of the numbers, you have both low and high. Which of those 2 come to mind first?
High.
High. I would definitely agree. So of the high cards, we would probably consider those 8, 9, and 10?
Yeah.
Okay. So of those three numbers that are left, of the red hearts suit, which one is your just, if you had to pick a card, which one would it be?
10.
Yep, all day. And that is your card. So that's what sales is no matter their response, it's good. It's awesome. It's great news. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. And then if they say something you don't like, you just toss it away. It doesn't even matter. So then he said, what, diamonds was his favorite? Like, yeah, but because, and then he laughed after I said it because it's something that nobody would say. So then obviously humor's involved in the sale of the homes and selling yourself and everything as well. So he said, diamonds, of course, but I'm a villain. So let's just get rid of those. And that's what you need to do on the doors, on the phones, when you talk to random people, is be able to make them laugh as well. And you do it in a way that's still moves them down in the right direction, which is setting the appointment or buying a home.
And fun. Like that was fun. That was very out of the box. Anybody have any questions about the lead gen prospecting, Tracy?
I do, Tristan. You mentioned that you're no longer doing the FSBOs, but you did say that there was something that you can say to get them to call back. What was it that you would say to get them to call back?
So let's just go into FSBOs then for that reason, because I can't just lightly touch on it.
Okay.
The way I set up the FSBO calls, it's the same opening every single time. It's, hey, what's up? Is this the owner of 123 Main Street? They're like, yeah, it is. Dude, I bet you've had 1 million realtors call you. And then they say, yeah, dude, it's been insane. Well, make it 1,000,001. Hey, are you doing for sale by owner because you're trying to save on the commission, or you just hate real estate agents? And they always laugh. Or if they don't laugh, then that means they're like, oh, I hate real estate agents. And then you just say like, yeah, honestly, most of them suck. Just here, and then you keep going. So the whole point by the end of that call with the cards, like the deck of cards, you're just trying to get to the point where you just want to preview their house. And they're like, I'm not listing it. I don't want to list my house. Like if you wanted to list it, you would have already listed it. Right. And they're like, yeah, that's right. But in the off chance that I come across a buyer, I just want to be able to have yours in the back pocket. So I can be like, hey, oh my gosh, you've got to look at this. Look at these photos. Look at these videos. You've got to see, this is a great house. And then that gets them on board to at least come by and see the house. Now, this is where I probably differentiate myself from most FSBO prospectors is I don't bring anything, like nothing. And I don't even talk about listing the property. I don't even mention it. And if they mention it, like, yeah, look, yeah, don't even worry about it. They'll say, are you trying to list my property? Like, if you want to list it, you would have already listed it. I just want to see if this house. And then after I go through the whole house, take photos and videos, I leave. I'm like, awesome. You have a good day. Thank you so much. And then they're going to be so mind blown that a realtor came to my house and did not pitch me on something, because most of them come with a clipboard, or most of them come with a, have you thought about listing your house? Or yeah, I'm going to see if I have a buyer for this. Like, no, they don't. So I just come by, take photos and videos. One time I have sold a FSBO just completely off market. I mean, so sometimes it really does happen. And then it's just a follow-up process. And I just help them every single time. I've even helped someone sell their house and they never even listed it. I just kept helping them because they just weren't motivated to list it. And so it was like, hey, by the way, can I be honest with you? They're like, yeah, sure. That first picture that you have posted on Zillow sucks. And if I was a buyer, that would not make me want to come see the house. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, what would you change it to? Like, well, I would just take a, normal, I explain them exactly what to do and then list it or post it. And then say, hey, I would also include if, are you paying a buyer's agent? They're like, yeah. They're like, I would also include, that you're going to pay a buyer's agent 3%. Because, if I'm a buyer's agent and I have two different houses in mind, one is FSBO and one's on the market, and I know for sure I'm getting paid for the one on the market, I'm just going to go there. I'm going to take my buyer there. They're like, oh, yeah, well, I should include 3%. And then what are you also doing? You're already preparing them for the listing presentation that they're going to pay 3% to a buyer's agent, right? So that's the back of the mind. And then somewhere down the line say, hey, the market's kind of changing. Do you know how much your house is worth now? And they're, if it has changed, or if their house is way too much or way too little. If it's way too little, it's the easiest pitch ever. Like, hey, you've got to see how much your house is worth. You're you're listed at 350, it's worth 400. You could pay me a fat commission check. You could pay the buyer's agent a fat commission check, and I can still make you 25 grand more. Like, that's pretty easy. But whenever it's super high, you go through the same listing presentation, you're not listing present, home evaluation presentation. Say, hey, look, this is how much this house sold for. This is how much this house sold for. This is how much this house sold for. Is your kitchen better than this kitchen? No. Is your backyard better than this backyard? No. Like, we go picture by picture, and eventually they're like, oh, so my house is worth closer to 400, not 450. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm not the buyer for your house, but I mean, that's probably what the market would indicate. So then guess what? Whenever their house still doesn't sell for sale by owner, I've already worked on the price. I've already worked on them paying buyer's agent commission. And then eventually you just keep following up with them, say, have you had any showings yet? Have you considered doing an open house? And if I were to do an open house, this is what I would do. I would door knock every single house. And so they're not going to door knock anyhow. I mean, they're not going to do any of that. But then they're like, holy crap, this guy would have door knocked every house. It's like, I'm just planting seeds every single time in their head. And then eventually, it ends up being about 4, 5, 6 touches in. I'm like, Jeff, can I ask for a favor? They're like, sure. If you just get to the point where you just hate this and you just want to list it, would you just consider me? And they're like, oh, dude, of course. You've been nothing but help. Like, of course. And it ends up being like on average 2 to 3 weeks after that, they're like, Tristan, I'm done. Just come over. Just list this thing. And it's the easiest conversation from them, because then it's like, awesome, fill in the box here. This is how much it lists for. This is this. And all right, let's go ahead and list the thing.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I don't do FSBOs anymore is because that's so time intensive, where I could just go door knock 100 houses and somebody is going to be willing to buy or sell out of 100 houses. Now you want to hear how to get 3.5% or 5% out of the FSBOs.
Talk about
Well,
that.
before we transition, just one quick. So are your lead or your main 2 lead sources then just strictly door knocking and circle prospecting all day? And when you and I talked a few weeks back about having you come in, like, you're very dedicated to your prospecting time.
Once you transition your mindset to I'm a real estate agent, from real estate agent to I'm really just a prospector, like, that's when your whole business changes. Because like, really your job is to just generate leads. And like technically, if you were to generate enough leads, I mean, over a given like a long enough period of time, even if you suck, you suck at it, eventually somebody will say, dude, I need to sell my house. You're the only person I know. It just by chance. And so I have a funny story about that. When I first started door knocking, I think it had to have been the first, second, or third time I went door knocking. I only had an hour to door knocked like 20, 25, 30 doors. And then I just finished Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blunt. Great book if y'all haven't read it. But the whole point of that book, the theme of the book is just one more call, because he does a bunch of cold calling. But I was like, I'm door knocking, so just one more door. I knock on one more door, and then they said, no, I'm not looking to sell, but that person up the street, they just moved out. They need to sell fast. And so I was like, well, shoot. So I ran up that street and knocked on the door. No one answered. But then the Ring camera came on. And so I pitched them through the Ring camera. And I was like, hey, have you thought about, and they're like, we already have an agent. We're already under contract on the buy for our house. And say, well, you know what? I have a buyer for your house, which is why I was door knocking. I had somebody who was loosely interested. I didn't really plan on them buying. And I was very upfront with them. I don't think that they're really going to buy, but it's at least worth a shot. I take some photos and videos of your property. And so then whenever I went over to their house the next day or two, and again, just an absolute laid out. Like I sucked. I actually have a YouTube video about this. It's on my YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. The pitch sucked. You can see my pitch through the Ring camera. You can see that I'm awkward. I'm weird on the doors. I'm not used to it. I'm not good at it. Just by pure chance, pure statistically, somebody's going to say yes. And so went to the house, took photos and videos, and then I said, look, if they're not interested, then we can just go ahead and list it. They're like, honestly, yeah, I really didn't want my agent to list it. He's really super lazy. I don't really like him. I would rather somebody that's out there hustling. And remember, like yesterday, I could have just given up and said, or yesterday then, I could have just given up and, oh, they already have an agent. Like, she wanted me to knock on the door. She was so happy that somebody else was ready to sell their house. And so then I almost challenged a lot of y'all's thoughts. Like it's kind of selfish of us not to present ourselves as another solution to some other people, because they're looking for a solution. They just don't want to admit it.
I think one of the keys here, Tristan, there's agents on here that have been in the business for 20 plus years. There's agents been on for 10 years. There's agents that just got licensed in the last 6 months. This is a whole mix of agents here right now with us, and who will watch this recording as we post it up here. I think one of the keys is just really truly like time blocking, running your business like a business.
Yeah.
And not letting your business run you. I used to be like, I was so disciplined with like Saturday mornings for me, back in the day when people answered their phones, I was on the phone Saturday mornings religiously from like 9 to about 11:30 in the morning. I blocked it out every single Saturday. The only time that I ever would give up that time is if I had an out-of-state client coming in. They're coming in for the weekend. We're under a time crunch. They want to find a house this weekend. Like, okay, I'll make an exception there. But otherwise, if somebody would call me on a Thursday, hey, we want to go look at homes this weekend, I'm available on Saturday. I can meet you anywhere, after 11:30. My morning right now is booked, but what do you have after 11:30? And we'd set the time. My appointment is with my phone, because I could set up 5 or 6 more appointments during those 2.5 hours with more buyers, more sellers for that week, buyer appointments, listing appointments, whatever, during that time. Way more valuable than me running out the door for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours showing homes. And setting yourself up for that future business. And I ran into that at the beginning. I'm chasing the next dollar and chasing the next check. And I get it. You got to do what you got to do. But at the same time, then I'd have those months where I'd have like 3 or 4 closings. And then I'd have 3 or 4 months where I'd have nothing because I was so focused on that now business right now, not working ahead, And so for the newer agents on here, I would just tell you, if you haven't learned that yet, like just hear what he's saying, like block out that time, run it like a business. You are running a business. Otherwise you just have a job. I mean, it's a glorified job. It can pay you good money, but man, you're always chasing the next check.
That's right. I mean, it's the number one skill I think we get to do, is prospect. And is there a book or books that you read, that was question-based selling that really got you good at asking questions specifically? I mean, there is a book called Question-Based Selling, but is there any specific book or two that really helped you hone that skill?
That specific skill, no, that's just over time. And then I watched this one guy and got connected with him. His name is Jeremy Davis. He's obviously an incredible coach as well, door knocking coach. He got connected with him. I never signed up for his coaching or anything, but his YouTube channel is very helpful. I did pay for a Roleplay. It's $200 a month. I was scared out of my mind to spend $200 a month on Roleplay. I was like, Roleplay, $200? Are you kidding me? I did that religiously for 3 months and got to the point where I was like, okay, this is insane. Like that has paid for itself for the next 6 years, 7 years, just that $200 a month, 3 months in a row. And it's a 1-year commitment. So you have to pay all $2,400. It's the greatest $2,400 you can spend. If you just get one sale out of it accidentally, you pay for it, for the next 3-4 years. But to answer your question, books, Fanatical Prospecting, Objections, and Inked. It's like a trilogy by Jeb Blunt. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy. $100 Million Offers, $100 Million Leads by Alex Mosey. Gym Launch Secrets by Alex Mosey. I can go on and on. I think it's just a never ending like continuous cycle of learning.
Tristan, were you in sales before? And if so, what did you sell?
No, I worked at Chick-fil-A for 6.5 years.
For real?
Yeah. Like right when I turned 15, like the second I turned 15, 6.5 years. And then I was going to go on to own my own Chick-fil-A, but it's a very weird process where you never actually own it. You sign up to be a franchise owner. You get sent across the U.S. for 5 years at the chance of owning one. So I didn't want to put my destiny in someone else's chance. And so I was like, I'm just leaving this.
Okay.
Well, then you can only own one, right?
And you can only own one, and you're the operator of their brand. And I knew my operator made a very high profit margin. He was actually one of the top in the company. He made the milkshake, by the way, the Chick-fil-A milkshake. He made the milkshake. But he ran one of the top profit margins, and he made $400,000 a year. And I was like, well, I bet I could probably make more than that. So it was just a bet on myself.
Talk a little bit about how you're getting the higher commissions. What kind of conversations are you having?
If it's FSBOs, you can almost just bank on the fact that you're competing against anywhere from, I've competed upwards of 14 people. So 3 to 14 people. I'm going to just all the time. And so you want to go last. I mean, you're going to do everything in your possible ability to go last. Sometimes it's just not possible, and that's okay. But they'll call you back, and they have. But if you do a really good job, but you're going to pitch them that you go last. Like, hey, look, when's your last appointment? And they're going to say, Thursday at 5. I'm going to be there Thursday at 6 because I'm going to blow your mind. I'll be waiting outside, waiting for this guy to leave, and we'll be ready to rock. There's no point in interviewing anyone else. I'm going to blow your mind. And then they're like, whoa, like, what's your commission? Like, dude, we're going to go over that as soon as we sit down. Like, what do you think my house is worth? That's exactly what we're going to go over too. Like, no matter what they say, you're like, yep. So it's just to sit down the appointment. Because the second you say commission, you're done. I don't even know if y'all do this, by the way. If someone were to call you, like, hey, I need to list my house, what's your fee, what's your commission? If y'all say it over the phone, y'all are losing business. Like, literally never. That's the easiest way to, like, oh yeah, dude, we will talk about that. Yep. That's a great question. We'll talk about that. Okay, so then you sit down, you're actually at the appointment, and then if it's door knocking or circle process, you got to make sure that they're actually qualified. Let's assume that they're all qualified. They really do want to move, highly motivated. Timeline makes sense, right? You're going to break it down to, I always have a yellow notepad. Anyway, sometimes people laugh. I have like 6 of these at all times, maybe even 7. So they have different stuff on each one. But I bring a blank one with me to the listing presentation. We do a short story. Let's say the listing presentation's at 1. I'm going to show up at 12:50. I'm going to make sure they see my car at 12:50. And then I'm going to get out of the car, and then I'm going to start to take notes and stuff I have this thing. It's the FMLS checklist. So my MLS checklist. So it's stuff like once you get the listing, it's stuff that you're gonna have to input anyways. But to them, you're carrying around a clipboard and you're looking really fancy and doing stuff that probably no one else is doing. And plus, it just helps me input the listing later. So it's super helpful. And so I'm just taking notes. They're watching me. They know. Like I'm here 10 minutes early. They're watching me. Like, what is this guy doing? And then I'm on a clipboard already taking notes. So like, oh my gosh, this is kind of elevated. No one else is doing this. And then knock on their door, and then you say, "Hey, I'm 5 minutes early. Is that okay?" And they're like, yeah, obviously it's early, but then you've paired yourself with I'm early. Like now they think that you're an early person, and then you just take off your shoes like every single time, no matter what. And you can make the same stupid joke like, "Thank God I wore my good socks today." And they're like, "Ha ha ha!" And it just like breaks the ice. And then you walk in like, "Dude, show me the home. This looks beautiful." Like no matter what, that's like pretty much the same. And I always use my hands, and I change the tone of voice. You can talk about that, and there's a lot of books for that too. But show me the home. It looks beautiful. Something very simple. We walk through the house. We ask them a bunch of questions like age of HVAC, age of all this stuff that's going to be needed for the seller property disclosure anyways. And then I'm going to go ahead and set my book bag down at the dining room table because we're going to set the precedent that this is business meetings are done at the kitchen table. They are not done on the couch. So we will not be doing the presentation on the couch no matter what they say. So do you mind if I set my stuff down at the dining room table? They're like, "Oh, yeah, sure." I'm like, "Awesome. We'll come back to that whenever we're done. Let's see the rest of the house." And so then we go see the house, and after we're done, like, "Dude, this is awesome. You want to go sit down now?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, sure." Remember, you're leading the way the whole time, every single time. They have no clue what to do. They've never done this, so you have to lead the way. And then when you sit down, you're like, "All right, you got any questions for me?" And then they're like, "Phew, what's your commission?" This is where the yellow notepad, you pull it out. You're like, "Great question," and you write it down because you want them to know, like, we will talk about this, but I'm not going to say it up front. That's 100%. And then I'm like, "Great question. Any other questions?" And then they're like, "How much is my house worth?" "Dude, 2 for 2. Great question." Write it down. And then I'm like, "Any other questions?" And they're like, "No, I don't think so." I'm like, "You know what the third question most people ask is?" They're like, "What?" And then you say, "Most people want to know what I'm going to do to sell their home." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah. What are you going to do to sell my home?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, let me show you." Okay. Then I write that down. And then, okay, now all their questions, and you want them to like any other questions about your house because you want them to just focus whenever it's time to sit down for the listing presentation and not in the middle of the presentation go, "You think I should paint my bathroom?" They're like, "Dude, shut up. Like, let's listen to this." So that's what you want to get into. Get all those questions out of the way. And then when you sit down, you're going to say, "All right, what we're going to go over," which is what you just written down because you already know that they're going to ask those 3 things. We're going to go over how much we can get for your house, what I'm going to do to sell your house, and then obviously what the commission is. They're going to say, "Great." You're going to do it in that order. There's a reason it's in that order. So then you go over how much your house is worth. And you do that by pulling up the MLS. I bring a quick CMA, those one page quick CMAs. I just have it because like if you split, do y'all do disc profiles, like personality types?
Mhm.
Okay, well the C personality types will want to know that you brought something that has like some analytics on it. We won't go over it, but I have it. I'm like, "Hey, here's the analytics for your house." Like they're like, "Okay, cool." So just set it down. We're not even going to talk about it. We're going to pull up the MLS. I'm going to show them my computer right beside them, and I'm going to say, "All right, what I'm going to do is look up all the houses that are either for sale, under contract, or closed that are similar to yours. Do you know what that's called?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "I'm just looking for houses that are similar to yours, similar to what other buyers are going to be buying." And they're like, "Okay, cool." So I'm going to do it all in front of them, like a ranch, a 4-bedroom house, and 375 to 450 and whatever the price range is. And then we're going to go line by line, every single one of them. This is where you got to add in a little bit of your own taste because I'll explain in a second. But you look at the houses, you're like, "All right, is your kitchen better than this kitchen?" And you shut up. And then they say yes. And like, "Okay, cool. Is your bathroom better than this bathroom?" I'm like, "Yes." "Is your backyard better than this backyard?" "No, it's not." Like, okay. So at the end of it, you're like, "All right, this one's sold for 450. Your house is better, but this backyard's better, right?" Right. Like we're gonna agree on everything before moving on. And so then what they'll start to do is categorize their own house. Like, okay, my house is better than the 450, but it's worse than the 460. So I'm probably somewhere in that range. But they're saying it, not you. Remember, if they say it, it's true. If you say it, you're just a salesman that's trying to get them to list their house for as low as possible. So then whenever they get to the point where at the very end, like, "All right, what do you think your house is worth?" And they're like, "Ooh,
Fair
I'm
enough.
thinking, I'm thinking 465. I'm like, "Okay, that's a great That's great. What do you think about this house? And then you go back to that last house that was, better than theirs for 455. Now this one sold for 455 and it's better than yours. Do you think yours is going to sell for 465? No, but I'd like to try it. You're like, well, then we go over the concerns of like trying the market. And you got to go over all those objections. Be like, okay, well, we have 3 different options, the 3 different pricing strategies. Now, this is something I've recently implemented just because the market's been nuts here in Atlanta where stuff is going down. It's taking forever to sell. So we have aspirational pricing, we have market value, and we have event-based pricing. So aspirational pricing is if your house is just perfect. I mean, Hobby Lobby threw up on the inside. There is a celebrity factor to it. It's completely updated. That is aspirational. Like you can ask whatever you want if your house looks like that. Does your house look like that? I don't know. Like, okay. Then we have market value, which is like probably what it would sell for if we listed it and then, waited 30, 35, 45 days, whatever the days on market is. And then we have event-based pricing. This one scares some people, but I'm going to get to it. So you kind of lean in, you play with them a little bit, add a little bit of tone. This is where you actually list a little under market value. And so instead of negotiating down, you actually negotiate up. And so then your house sells just as fast and you get exactly what you would have asked for in the first place. Because, do you know why? They're like, no, I don't know why. Can I share why? You ask them, they're like, yeah, sure. People in this market, they're looking for a deal. Interest rates are so high. It's hard for people to get what they're looking for. Every person's trying to list at market value or aspirational. So when that one comes up, that's event-based pricing, everyone and their mother comes and sees the house and they're all bidding on it because they all want this house and they start to compete against themselves instead of you going down. So which of these 3 options do you want to do? They're like event, or they'll say market. And then no matter what they say, you're like, okay, cool. Notice I didn't ask for a price. Be like, awesome. So I think 450 is the best spot if that's the strategy that you want to choose. They're like, I was hoping for like 465. Like, okay, well, okay. Eventually, just for time's sake, I can't get into all the objection handlers to eventually get them down to the price. Here's a cool one though. If you're on a 450, 400, or 350, on the 50s, the cool part about that is you get everyone looking from 300 to 350 and everyone looking from 350 to 400. So by listing at 350, you literally double the amount of people that see your house. So that one helps, but just some key. And then at the end of it, we agree on a list price. Like, okay, so you think 450 is going to sell your house? And again, you got to be quiet. And they will say, well, I really want to try like 455. Or they'll say like, yes, but you will keep going over list price until they say yes to that question. So if they say, I really want to try 455, can I share the dangers of that? They're like, yeah, sure. Like if you lift at 455 and someone's looking from 400 or 450, you're never going to find them. But if you lift at 450 and somebody thinks your house is worth 455, they'll pay $5,000 over asking. And they'll say, you think so? Like, I know so. That's what the market's doing. People are looking for a deal. They'll appreciate the confidence. Okay, cool. Again, now you loop back. So you think 450 is going to sell your house? Yeah, I do. Okay, once they say yes, it's not like a maybe or I think it's yes. Awesome. Now you're probably wondering, what am I going to do to sell your house? Everything's in stages. So the first one's list price. The second one is what I'm going to do to sell your house. And the third one is commission. And so this is probably where they'll ask like, what's your commission? Right. We'll get to that in a second. What am I going to do to sell your house? And you just completely blow past their question. This is what I'm going to do to sell your house. And this, I actually will share my screen. Is it possible to share my screen? When it's time to go over like what I'm going to do to sell your house. Now it's one page. A lot of people, when they show up with their listing presentation, it's like 10 pages. It's a PowerPoint. It's this. They don't care about any of that. Okay. So then you ask them like, have you heard of a coming soon launch? They're like, no. Notice I didn't say, we can list your house coming soon. Have you heard of a coming soon launch? Everything's exciting. Like you got to pitch everything. And it's called feature benefit, feature benefit, feature benefit. What's the feature? How does it benefit them? What's the feature? How does it benefit them? So the coming soon launch. What's cool about the coming soon launch is you can go ahead and have your house up on the MLS tonight. Now notice I'm telling them we can go ahead and list it tonight. We're already framing tonight. So we can go ahead and list your house tonight. You can go ahead and get your house ready, worry about painting, all that other stuff later. But in the meantime, I can go ahead and legally start marketing your house. And this will allow me to reach out to agents, other buyers, start lining people up. So when we go live, we're ready to rock and roll. Awesome. And then in the meantime, now I put dates on here too. This is back in December. But in the meantime, you can go ahead and stage your house, clean, pressure wash, whatever it is you're going to do, stuff that you already talked about. And then we're going to take professional photos. Now, a lot of people say that they take professional photos, but they really don't. They just hire a professional photographer, but it's not really professional. And so have you ever heard of HDR photos? They're like, no. Okay, I'm going to talk about every little thing and how it benefits them. Be like, the importance of taking HDR photos is because it takes 5 different photos of the same picture and adds light to each of them. So the whole house looks brighter. If the whole house looks brighter, well, then more people are statistically more inclined to come see your house. Do you want people to come see your house? Like, yeah. Okay. And then, so I tell them, like, I pay for a deluxe package. Deluxe package includes a visual motion tour, a Zillow 3D floor plan, which, the myth goes that on the Zillow 3D floor plan, if you pay a little extra for it, well, then they'll, Zillow will boost your listing. I don't know if it's true, but that's the myth. So I just pay a little extra for it just in case. And then aerial photos. And then I talk about my video tour, and I can show, y'all have to look that up on YouTube because I'm running out of time. And then everything goes live at the same time. And then I'm going to door knock the entire neighborhood to invite them to the open house so that people are looking like left and right at the open house. Like, holy crap, there's so many people in this open house, which goes really well with event-based pricing. And then hopefully create a bidding war at the open house. And then say at the end of it, I wish I had more time to go over the whole thing, but do you think that this is going to sell your house? And they'll say, well, yeah, I do think so. Like, no, listen, do you think this is going to sell your house? You got to double down because you want them to say yes. We are not moving on to commission until they agree that this is going to sell their house. And then they're like, yeah, I do. This is it. This is the most aggressive marketing strategy I've heard of yet. Like, awesome. All right, now we're going to move into commission. And then this is where it's just like, okay, I have 3 different options for you. I have the basic, the classic, and the ultimate. And then everything on the first page is the exact same. So let's go to the second page. The basic gets you photos. The classic gets you everything I just talked about. And the ultimate's where I pay for pressure washing, home cleaning, junk removal, and all that other stuff. Which one do you want? And just be quiet. Now, this is where it gets really, really weird because some people will sit in awkward silence for like 30 seconds just thinking about it. Don't talk. Just say, which one do you want? And we will sit here like this for a very long time until eventually they're like, classic. Awesome. You can go ahead and initial here, and I'll just go and write this and write this. And then it's very smooth to go into the actual sign. It's very easy to initial, because you're just asking for an initial. Just initial here, and then you just pull out the listing package and fill it out, the list price, fill out the dates, fill out everything, the commission, and then you're ready to rock and roll. By the way, it's all stuff y'all already do. I'm just listing it out. That's the important part.
Do you have staging in any parts of yours?
No,
Professional?
no reason not to. It's just not my value proposition. I don't like it.
Do you only give the open house if they choose the second or third? So you won't do the open house or on a basic?
No.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Good. I like it.
And then I tell them because I've actually lost a listing because of this, and so almost 2, and so I've actually reconsidered and almost put it back on 3. But then I realized that it's all in the pitch. So then I just pitch them back. Somebody said it on the second one, like, I don't get an open house with the basic. And I'm like, can I be honest and tell you what an open house is really for? And they're like, it's really for the agents. It just allows me to get unrepresented buyers. Hopefully they buy your house. And if they don't, well, then I have a buyer for more business. And then the reason this open house works is because of the circle prospecting, the custom video tour, and the professional property flyers that I'm going to send out or pass out as I'm door knocking your neighborhood. That's what's going to make this open house work. So yeah, look, if you want me to just sit in an open house for 2 hours for funsies, like, I'll do it. But if you want me to actually sell your house, this is what we got to do. And they'll say, oh, okay.
Keep in mind, guys, and we've talked about this before, cost is a factor in the absence of value.
That's right.
If you're getting beat up on your commissions, you're not showing enough value. When you show the value that you bring, and here's the thing, a lot of people do this stuff, but for him to spell it out like this, where most agents aren't spelling it out like that, and then they're getting beat up, you show your value, and now you can go higher. We've gotten 7% on many of our listings, 4 to us, 3 to the buyer. Many of our listings, and I come in last, and I'm competing against 3, 4, 5 other agents, and they sign with us every time, and they're paying me more because I'm showing them my value in this presentation when I sit down with them, and that's exactly what you're doing.
I just had a FSBO competing against 3 other realtors. One was a 1% realtor. One's been in the business for 20 plus years. And they ended up going with me at a lower list price and 5%.
Wow.
Wild, right? Like, it's not always about the commission.
For sure.
If you're competing, do you like to be first or last? There's different.
Last. 100% last. Yeah. Prior to the listing, I'm going to price out all that stuff. And I told them straight up, I was like, hey, by the way, if you were to do all this work yourself, you would save yourself a lot of money. The reason people go with the ultimate is because it's convenient. I talk to all the contractors. I pay for all of it. You pay me at close through the commission. Like otherwise it's cheaper for you to just go do it yourself.
Tracy and Mickey kind of both asked the same question. What if have you ever paid for any of this stuff and then they walk away from the listing? It could happen, but I guess you're going to, cost of doing business to some degree. There might be that risk here and there, but how many more listings are you going to get because of it? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. There's been a few things I've done where I'm like, oh shoot, but here's what it got us in the long run. 40,000 extra in commissions. So
yes, I've done one where they signed up for it, and then I personally had to help my pressure washer guy do the pressure washing because he was so booked up. He did me a favor. We're trying to move quick, and we sprayed the soap on the grass, and it ended up burning the dog's feet whenever she took out the dog, and she got pissed, and so she canceled the listing, and she ended up paying me back for the pressure washing, but there was a chance that she was not going to pay me back for that. And I mean it's the cost of doing business. Yeah. And I do put on all my listings now whenever I do that if the house doesn't close for any reason, termination, doesn't close, expires, withdrawn, nothing, that I'm to receive in full all receipts, whatever. Now they could just not pay you back and you take them to court over $2,000 or not. However, the best part about it is everyone should do it. Make it 6%, make it 7%, make it 10%. It doesn't matter. It serves as a price anchor. So they're going to look at 10% and say, holy crap, I'm that 10. So then when they look at 3.5%, like, oh, that's a deal. Like, that's insane. I'm not doing that one. So 3.5 is great. And it's only a little bit more than 3%. So like, why would I not do 3.5? It's just very obvious. Like, they're like, oh, of course, the classic. That's what everyone does. Nobody wants to be basic. They all want to be classic. Of course.
Adrienne was asking, when do you address repairs needed for the home? Do you do that when you're sitting down at the table with them or when you're walking through the house? When do you address, like, here's some things that we see we need to get done?
I guess it kind of depends on the person, honestly. You kind of just feel that out. Like, if I just show up and they're a little like cold, I'm not going to be like, hey, by the way, fix your dishwasher. But if after the whole presentation, they're signing up with me, they're using me, like, hey, let's go over the things that would be best to get done before listing. Obviously, you do whatever you want with your money, but this would be worth your money to fix. And you're like, oh, you got to fix the dishwasher, you got to fix this.
One of the things too we've talked about with different kinds of programs like this, it's your program, so you can always put up to such and such amount. That's another way to handle some of this stuff. I'll cover the junk removal up to $500, or I'll cover up to this or up to this, whatever, and just you could have that in there as well, like in terms of a little asterisk, some conditions apply kind of thing. I mean, we've done that stuff all the time with different kinds of guarantees. We've done different programs, and so but again, it's ways to make yourself set yourself apart from all the other agents that they're meeting with.
What I found is typically my business is like I'm trying to get the listing before anyone else. Like it's like I'm always on edge. So it's like, let's get to the papers. Like but here recently with door knocking and sort of, it's been a lot easier to just be like, yeah, sign here. They're like, okay, cool, sign here. And then, hey, by the way, you need to do this and this. And they're like, okay, cool. Another reason why I stepped out of FSBOs. They're just tough.
Tristan, have you heard of multiple offers AI, where you can walk in the door, literally have anywhere between 3 and I've seen it as high as 11 cash offers for the house, like when you walk in the door? Have you heard of that system?
No, I have not. That's funny.
It's something we're going to be doing a training on here soon. We're getting some things together for that, but I could talk to you offline if you have an interest in that. Could be a great way to get some, even with FSBOs, when you walk in the door and you've got offers in hand, whatever, like another way to set yourself apart.
I actually, funny enough that you bring that up. I have 3 cash offer people who I used to always say, I'm going to talk to Mark Spain, or I'm going to talk to Orchard or Open Door, and like, hey, I work with a pool of investors who offer cash, and now EXP has express offers. So like by the way, the biggest buyer for express offers at EXP is Open Door. So it's very like, oh yeah, my business partners with Open Door. So instead of going through them, why don't we just see if it makes sense, and we can just wrap this thing up, and then you just set yourself up for the listing. And then at the listing presentation, I've told all 3 of them, like, hey, by the way, this is what they're going to do. They're going to walk in. Let's say your house is worth 300. They're going to offer you 200. You're not going to like it. Then they're going to say, well, why don't we just list it for 300? And you're like, yeah, why don't we? And it's like, well, let's just skip a step and let's just do that now. And they're like, okay, cool.